every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
Core TV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, welcome to Core TV Primetime News. I am Gift Ogete, and I'm in your story. Civil rights group urges President Muhammadu Buhari to ignore U.S. President Barack Obama on gay rights issues on his visit to the United States of America. Also in this program, former Finance Minister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala denies reports of the existence of a dossier on dirty deals by the Jonathan administration. Accountant General of the Federation, Hamid Idris, promises prudent and transparent management of the Federation account. Outside Nigeria, 2 injured in 2 explosions targeting Hamas officials in the Gaza Strip. Good to have you stay on with us. Now details of the headlines and other stories. Project for Human Development, a civil society organization, on Sunday urged President Muhammadu Buhari not to listen to the U.S. government on issues of gay rights so as to protect the laws and values of Nigeria. The call was made at a rally in Lagos against the backdrop of Buhari's visit to the U.S. on Monday. Buhari will on Monday, July 20, be at Washington, D.C. on a 4-day official visit, during which he will hold talks with President Barack Obama and other senior officials of the United States government. Director General of PhD, Mr. Jerry Okwosa, said the rally was to hint Buhari on the fears by Nigerians that Obama might ask him to decriminalize the same-sex prohibition law of Nigeria. According to him, this is a way for the U.S. to promote gay rights, which is a part of America's foreign policy. He, however, urged President Buhari to reject such a trade-off. The protesters, numbering about 50, and including lawyers and youth leaders of both sexes, paraded from the Tafawa Balewa Square through Lagos City Mall to the Muson Center. Coming from the presidency, at least 6,000 appointments will be made by President Muhammadu Buhari. This was made known by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, who stated that Buhari would be fair to all. Buhari, who recently sacked the country's service chiefs that served under ex-President Goodluck Jonathan and dissolved the boards of many federal government parastatals across the country, has been criticized for not constituting his cabinet and appointing people into various boards of parastatals. A retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, Adebayo Adeoye, has called for the immediate restoration of the Department of State Services personnel to the Aso Villa to provide close bodyguard protection for President Muhammadu Buhari. The former DIG noted that the use of soldiers as presidential guards could expose Buhari to danger and jeopardize his life. Buhari had on Friday recounted his experience at the Eid praying ground, where he was almost mobbed by youths who were anxious to see him, adding that the man with a knife could have attacked him during the tense moment, where he managed to escape from the crowd. Adeoye, in a telephone interview on Sunday, stated that the incident at the Eid praying ground showed that the soldiers guarding him did not have the requisite experience and skills to protect him. Adeoye observed that Buhari had to board his official car through the rear left passenger side, where the aide-de-camp sits, to escape the mob. The retired police chief said the soldiers guarding the president exposed him to danger by their poor crowd control skills, adding that the DSS operatives would have better protected him because they were trained for such scenarios. But a former FCT Commissioner of Police, Lawrence Alobi, stated that soldiers in Mufti could be used as part of the outer layer of presidential security, or the DSS should rather be used for intelligence gathering. He had disagreed with Adeoye's stance that the DSS operatives were trained in crowd control, noting that it was only policemen that had such training. Former Governor of Anambra State, Chris Ngige, on Sunday said the change Nigerians expect will fully take root when each of us plays his part in supporting President Muhammadu Buhari to deliver on his campaign promises. Ngige said this in a Salah message to Muslim faithfuls as part of the Eid al-Fitr celebrations. He said the Eid al-Fitr celebrations provide a unique opportunity for sober reflections and spiritual rejuvenation, which Nigerians must take full advantage of. While congratulating Muslim brothers and sisters for the successful completion of the mandatory month-long fasting period, he urged that we all imbibe the lessons of selflessness, dedication to the service of God and humanity, as well as sacrifice which the holy month teaches. He stressed that the change we all hoped and prayed for is here. The former governor explained that all Nigerians must now be prepared to play their individual and collective roles to ensure that words translate into action for Nigeria to attain its full potential. A former Vice President, Dr. Alex Ekweme, has asked Nigerians not to rush President Muhammadu Buhari into taking hasty decisions on national issues. He stated this on Sunday at St. Patrick's Catholic Church, Agulu Zigbo, in Anwacha local government area of Anambra State during the Thanksgiving Mass of former national chairman of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Chief Victor Ume. The ex-vice president said every leader has his own style. The most important thing is to get the right results, ensure peace, stability and unity of the country. He, however, noted the appointments so far made by the president did not quite meet the federal character requirement as envisaged by the constitution of the country. He said the constitution of the country requires that the president observe federal character in appointments considering the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. Labour Party has distanced itself from the recent statement by its National Secretary Olukayode Ajulo calling on President Muhammadu Buhari to set up an inclusive government. The party described Alujo's comment as personal opinion. National Chairman of the LP, Abubakar Abdul Salam, in a statement on Sunday in Abuja, said the party had no reason to join any inclusive government of the ruling All Progressives Congress, adding, according to him, the party has not met to take such position, calling on the president to set up an inclusive government. Abdul Salam ordered that a marketable political party, LP, would rather remain a leading opposition party than calling on Buhari to set up an inclusive government. Retired military general, Brigadier General Ayodele Ojo, has accused the People's Democratic Party of trying to cast instability in the country for President Muhammadu Buhari-led government. Ojo, in an interview with newsmen, said the action of the PDP senators to allow Ike Ekweremadu emerge as the Deputy Senate President in a chamber controlled by the All Progressives Congress was aimed at destabilizing or ambushing the new administration. The retired general, who was a director in the Defense Headquarters, also criticized the National Assembly for being the weakest link in the nation's democracy. He stated that Nigerian lawmakers need to exhibit democratic traits as exhibited by the United States Congress, after which the Nigerian legislative system was fashioned. On the president's delay in appointing ministers, the retired general argued that a serious government with a mission for change could not afford to hastily form its cabinet. According to him, the president must resist any attempt to be stampeded by the PDP and other opposition elements into appointing ministers. The All Progressives Congress has called on former President Goodluck Jonathan to apologize to Nigerians for the kind of bad governance and leadership it administered in the country during the 6 years he spent in office. The party also called on the People's Democratic Party to eat the humble pie and apologize to the people for the way it mismanaged the country for the 16 years it ruled the country, saying the apologies would be the most honorable thing to do. A statement on Sunday by the Publicity Secretary of the APC in Ondo State, Omwaba Adesanya, noted that instead of making excuses, the PDP should be remorseful and apologetic for plunging the country into the mess it found itself. The statement ordered that the process of rescuing the country from the level the PDP government left it might take time, and there would be need for patience. Meanwhile, the Publicity Secretary of the PDP in Ondo State, Banji Okunomo, in an interview with newsmen on Sunday, urged the APC to stop acting like an opposition party, saying it should rather focus on how to deliver on the promises it made to Nigerians. It's Core TV Primetime News. We'll take this break. Please stay with us.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to our husband that you should keep promise about what you said. And because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
But some people will stand for Yoruba land. We'll be strong man. We don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
As news breaks, people don't let events pass without giving their comment or reactions.
When the problem arises in society, these are the people that should be consulted.
To cleanse the corruption in society, we are not to provide information for good life and also security of life and property in this country.
The academic society have the loudest voice on this platform.
Whether you call it a sovereign national conference or a national conference, it's just about the people of Nigeria.
There should be a change in power.
In any way they can do it.
I think there's a script already.
Every Tuesday at 8:45 p.m. on this station. From the Ivory Tower, a must-watch for the learning minds.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned with us. Now a reminder of our top stories. Civil rights group urges President Muhammadu Buhari to ignore U.S. President Barack Obama on gay rights issues on his visit to the United States of America. Former Finance Minister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala denies report of the existence of dossier and dirty deals by the Jonathan administration. Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, promises prudent and transparent management of the Federation account. And do not forget that for more stories, you can reach us on our social media platforms on Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTVNews. On Twitter at CoreTVNewsNG. And on YouTube, it's youtube.com/CoreTV_News. Thanks for staying with us. The umbrella body of the Joy Youths, the Joy Youth Council Worldwide, has berated former President Olusegun Obasanjo over alleged uncomplimentary comments on the immediate past President Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. Obasanjo had allegedly said while delivering a convocation lecture at Benson Idahosa University, Benin, Edo State, that the perceived failure of Jonathan in office would haunt the people of South Zone for a long time. The IYC took exception to the comments, saying that the statement was reckless, baseless, and a deliberate effort by Obasanjo to dent former President Jonathan's towering image in the national community. The group stated that if there was any region that ought to be hunted by the performance of ex-Nigerian president, it is the Southwest region, as former President Obasanjo's performance in office was abysmal. The Accountant General of the Federation, Hamid Idris, has vowed that the nation's treasury under his watch would be prudently and transparently managed. Idris stated this when members of the Civil Society of Nigeria, an umbrella body representing over 25 civil societies in Nigeria, visited him at the Treasury House to congratulate him on his appointment as the new AGF. He urged civil society organizations in the country to collaborate with the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari in its resolve to fight corruption at all levels of governance by reporting any individual or organizations engaged in corrupt practices. A statement from the AGF office on Sunday quoted Idris to have said that as civil societies, they should act as whistleblowers by reporting all forms of corrupt practices witnessed in the system. This, he noted, should be done objectively without fear or favor. The AGF gave the assurance that the nation's treasury under his watch will be prudently and transparently managed to ensure that the change promised by the President Buhari's administration is positively reflected in the lives of Nigerians. Earlier, the president of the group, Femi Sabinu, pledged the support of the association in ensuring that the nation's finances are efficiently managed. The peace talks to end the leadership crisis in the Senate appears to have collapsed following the decision of the Unity Forum to challenge the June 9 election of Bukola Saraki as Senate President and Chief Ike Ekweremadu as Deputy Senate President in court. Some members of the forum are praying a court in Abuja to nullify the elections of Saraki and Ekweremadu, but the like minds backing Saraki have convened in Abuja to assess the situation and launch counter-legal attacks. Members of the Unity Forum are said to be angry at what they see as a hardline position of the Saraki group against the directive of the APC leadership on the sharing of principal positions in the chamber. Their decision to go to court is hinged on alleged lack of quorum in the chamber on June 9 when Saraki and Ekweremadu were elected, and the use of alleged forged 2015 Senate standing orders amended to conduct the election. The APC Governors Forum Committee on the Crisis in the Senate is being coordinated by Governors Atiku Bagudu and Adams Oshiomhole. The governors are expected to meet Saraki and Lawan after the Eid al-Fitr break. The resumption of negotiation was one of the reasons why the National Assembly fixed July 28 for senators to return from recess. Senators who served in the 7th Senate have disowned the 2015 edition of the Senate Standing Orders as amended. The senators, who are from different political parties, said they were not aware of any amendments to the 2011 Senate Standing Orders, acting on a petition by Senator Sulaiman Hunkuyi of Progressives Congress, Kaduna State. The police had on July 6 quizzed the Deputy Senate President, Senator Ike Ekweremadu, and the Clerk of the National Assembly, Mr. Salisu Maikasua, over the alleged forgery of the standing orders. The alleged forged orders were said to have been used in the election of Ekweremadu and the Senate President, Senator Bukola Saraki. It was exclusively reported on Thursday that the police said they would release the report on the investigation into the alleged forgery this week. The petition alleged that some parts of the 2015 Senate orders were different from the one ratified by the 6th Senate in 2010, which was used by the 7th Senate as standing orders in 2011. With the Eid holidays over, the need to be careful, especially by road users, has again been brought into sharp focus with a traffic accident between a trailer and Toyota Camry car on the long bridge of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. 5 occupants of the Toyota Camry car escaped death by the whiskers but sustained serious injuries and have subsequently been taken to the hospital by men of the Ogun State Traffic Enforcement Unit Trace. The traffic enforcement officers, who declined to speak on camera, however, warned motorists and members of the public to be careful and not go beyond the speed limit while on the road. Hundreds of public servants, retirees and other categories of residents trooped to the Winners Chapel, Osogbo, Osun State capital on Sunday to receive the food aid sent by the presiding bishop of the church, David Oyedepo. The state's pastor at the church, Pastor Olumuyiwa Emmanuel, had on Wednesday announced during the midweek service that a truckload of the food donation had arrived for distribution. He directed them to invite their friends and neighbors irrespective of their religious affiliations. He said the foodstuff was sent to assist workers and others to cope with the hardship caused by non-payment of salaries. You would recall that the chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress in Osun State, Jacob Adekomi, had said in June that labor unions in the state would soon approach wealthy Nigerians to ask them to donate food to their members. People's Democratic Party in Ekiti State has accused the All Progressives Congress of writing President Muhammadu Buhari in a bid to stop refund of money sent or spent on federal projects by the state. The state Publicity Secretary of PDP, Jackson Adebayo, raised the allegation in a statement made available to journalists in Ado-Ekiti on Sunday. He claimed the APC leaders decided to write the president in order to cover up the early allegations that the state governor Ayodele Fayose had collected 22 billion naira as a refund for the federal road projects executed by the state. According to him, a member of the State Executive Committee on the APC confirmed that the letter was written after the party leaders learned the amount the federal government was owing the state was far below 22 billion naira. But the State Publicity Secretary of APC, Taiwo Olatunbosun, and his reaction described the allegation as mere face-saving antics that wouldn't take the PDP government anywhere. Olatunbosun said the APC had earlier alleged that the sum of 22 billion naira had been paid by the federal government to Fayose, saying it would be foolish on PDP's part to now allege that the party had written to President Buhari with an intention to block the payment. With the renewed attacks by the insurgent group Boko Haram catching many Nigerians by surprise and with calls for a more proactive approach by the military growing, Chief of Army Staff Yusuf Buratai has reiterated the Army's commitment to fighting the insurgents. The Army Chief, who was speaking in Damaturu, the Yobe State capital, on a visit to troops on the front line of the fight, says he is spiritually and mentally rejuvenated to face the criminals disturbing the peace of the nation.
The essence of as a layman, all right, the benefit of the fasting. One is the spiritual rejuvenation, and physically also you are rejuvenated, and indeed mentally. So at the end of the fasting, you agree with me that myself personally, I'm physically, mentally and spiritually rejuvenated to face these criminals that are bent on disturbing the peace of this country.
The Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Sani Usman, says the troops of the Nigerian Army have detonated land mines planted by Boko Haram insurgents along the Maiduguri-Biu Road. Usman said the road is now safe for users as adequate security has been provided to ensure the safety of commuters. Usman, whose comments were contained in an electronic mail on Sunday, said the land mines were removed by the Special Force Explosive Ordnance Device Unit in collaboration with the police and the vigilance group. He said a team of security operatives successfully detonated 4 improvised explosive devices planted by the insurgents during the operation. The acting army spokesman also advised the members of the public to be vigilant and security conscious and report suspicious movement to security operatives. The insurgents had reportedly taken over a portion of the Maiduguri-Biu road on Monday. The Department of State Services has accused former National Security Advisor Colonel Sambo Dasuki, retired, of felony corruption, misuse of power, and possession of destructive weapons. The DSS said it recovered 7 high-caliber rifles, high assault weapons, several magazines, military-related gears, and 12 new vehicles, which included 5 bulletproof cars from Dasuki's home. The service said the items recovered from the former NSA were capable of disrupting the peace of any city in Nigeria. In a statement signed by an official of the DSS, Tony Okuyo, the intelligence agency said the ex-NSA was not forthcoming with the truth in his account of what transpired in his house. The DSS had invaded the residence of the former DSA on Thursday and put him under movement restriction till Friday evening. It was gathered that operatives refused him access to his family members during the raid and the period of his restriction. The DSS, in a statement, justified its action, saying it had credible intelligence linking Dasuki with alleged plans to commit treasonable felony against the Nigerian state. The DSS also further accused Dasuki of using military guards despite his removal as DSA. Ex-Chief Security Officer, CSO, to former President Goodluck Jonathan, Gordon Obua, has been arrested and detained by the Department of State Services, DSS. A security source said Obua has been held in connection with an investigation into illegal oil bunkering. The source said the ex-CSO, who worked with ex-President Jonathan during his 6 years in office, had been under instruction to report daily to the DSS headquarters in Abuja daily, but was detained last Thursday evening. It was alleged that relatives and lawyers had been denied access to him. In a statement signed by its Executive Director, Society for Global Justice, confirmed that Obua was detained at the DSS headquarters in Abuja and demanded his immediate release. The onset of the rainy season has once again brought to the fore the suffering of the people of Alagboli in Ifo local government area of Ogun State. Correspondent Precious Kingston, who visited the area recently, filed in this report as presented from our studios.
Movement for those who have access to good road is just hassle-free, but for the residents of Alagboli Akute in Ifo local government area of Ogun State, it's not something to be taken lightly, with the awful condition of the road network within the area, which is home to thousands. For an average vehicle owner, navigating the roads here is a difficult task. Different strokes, they say, for different folks, which motorcycles and tricycles have become an alternative means of transportation, with many of them smiling to the bank daily. Some private vehicle owners who are not happy with the bad state of the roads bear their minds on what they go through daily.
Let government just support us to finish this job. We need an assistant, and because this road is worse thing. When the rain continues like this place will not. There is no way to pass, and a lot of motor and a bike spoiling along this road.
We are appealing to the governor to please. This is a good project, but we are appealing to them to finish it on time. The suffering here is much for us. I feel like packing out of Akute and move into Lagos.
This residents say the health implication has become a source of major worry, with refuse dumps now the common sight almost on the major roads.
Government should come to our own aid here and just see what they can do, so that the people in this vicinity will not be able to contact any disease from what is going on with this.
The bad road network has 8 implications on economic activities in the area, leading to a mass immigration.
Yes, so everybody has run away now. No one is there again. Everybody has gone to Ajal, Ikeja, Ogba, Bega, Ojodu, so Oshodi. In fact, many has gone back to Ibadan. But we are managing here because we don't have anywhere to go. So we need to relax here and be waiting on to God for God to do something. We are begging the government to assist us. It's not too late. Though we know this is rainy season, but at the same time, maybe during the dry season, they should help us to put things in orders.
The problem we have now, look, you can see the vehicle, all the vehicle going now, is this bridge. The governor has tried to do the bridge to this level. Now that it's in, let it come and complete the bridge, or even do the wrong way for us so that we can see road passing. All the vehicles here are damaging. You can see this vehicle damaged, other one damaged there. Just help us to come and do the road. There's no anything else. For this main time now, let it just call the Chinese people to come and straighten the road so that people can pass around and the vehicle can move around.
With the situation showing no signs of an improvement anytime soon due to the ongoing financial crisis that has crippled activities in many states, the demand of the residents of the area is that the state government must find a quick fix solution to the bad state of the road. The recent decision by the Lagos State government to do more to address the issue of traffic gridlock in the state has raised concerns among many, especially those who trade in traffic. Our correspondent Omotayo Law presents the report on the activities of traffic entrepreneurs on Lagos roads. Her report.
The issue of traffic gridlock in Lagos to some people have assumed legendary proportion, with most people spending hours in avoidable traffic leading to loss of manpower hours. Many have even gone as far as leaving the central business district to ensure they stay away from the traffic. But for these traffic entrepreneurs, it's a win-win situation.
Some people are suffering for it. But I'll just say sorry for that because I used to make my own money.
How much do you make in a day?
Or sometimes I make 5,000 naira, 3,000 naira, depends how traffic is.
I will go Kingsway, I say. After we don't finish for that place, I come here again, I say.
They argue that business for them booms when there is a huge traffic gridlock, irrespective of the risk inherent in the practice of selling in traffic. They say man must keep body and soul together.
I don't have money to rent shop, and here they pay me. And they make small profits. No matter how, where, if I go, only I don't come out, I don't go see like 3,000-4,000 a day. Understand? I get family, I take the feed them. Yeah, that's one thing they like hold up. Hold on a sharp business.
I myself, I didn't pray to be in this hold up. Even though by the God's grace, when I see a little money that I'm expecting, I can leave the hold up.
I just finished my secondary school. I don't have any money to sponsor myself to build the institution. That's why I joined to sell this.
While the state government is putting into place measures to reduce the traffic gridlocks in Lagos and reduce losses of productivity, the traffic entrepreneurs say the state should take them into consideration and provide stalls for them to continue their business. Omotayo Alo, Core TV News, Lagos.
Different strokes for different folks, you want to say. Well, the issue of global warming and management of waste a constant source of debate on how best to tackle it. Our Kaduna State correspondent Amina Inebi visited Panteka Market in Kaduna to show us how a unique group of people are making money out of processing waste. Her report is presented from our studios.
Panteka in Kaduna South local government of the state is where most of the cans picked from dump site are turned into useful products. The waste materials are brought together, melted and coupled into a finished product like pots, baking pan, etc. One of the leaders of the artisans, Adamu Maman, explains how the waste is recycled. These containers are brought from those that pick waste bin from different locations. We melt it and couple it into pots of different kinds. Bansira Jibril is also an artisan. He wants the government to assist him and his colleagues in the trade he has spent over 15 years. I am appealing to the present governor, Nasir El-Rufai, to come to our aid. We need assistance because this work cannot sustain us. The leader of this group of artisans has been in the trade for over 35 years. Over 35 years now, I have been training boys who graduate orders. In most of the key local government, I have my boys. This job I learned it from Mali man. Then they came to Nigeria. Kaduna, and I started as a boy like that. The boy blowing fire. Gradually I started learning and improving, and I eventually graduated. Some of the boys are even married with children and have benefited.
I don't have anything that will correspond with this insinuation in the town. I don't have anything note. I don't have a verbal instruction, nothing of that nature. But I myself have been having this kind of rumors, even from Lagos, Kano, Katsina. People have been calling me. We heard that you people are going to vacate this place to another place. I don't know. But we call on the Excellency, Executive Governor of Kaduna State. We know him. We know his track records. We want him to at least, if there's anything that has to do with this kind of information, let us be informed, so that we'll be in the picture of everything.
Most of the youth here, it's like we are promoting them. So the youth here, most of them are here to work, as in most of them are operators, some of them are wood sellers, and we have many. This is a business center, in short. So most of the youth, this is a market that they are promoting youth.
For many of these people, government assistance and support is required to ensure that there are manual waste to wealth schemes.
Wife of Lagos State Governor Bolanle Ambode on Sunday called on mothers to raise and nurture their children with the fear of God, irrespective of gender. She made the call when she visited a set of triplets delivered by Mrs. Abby Augustine and a set of twins by Mrs. Nosiru Onibon, both at the Ekpe General Hospital. Ambode, who was accompanied by the wife of the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Fausat Obasa, said the upbringing of a child goes a long way to determine his or her future, reminding mothers of their key role in shaping the future of their children. Medical Director of the hospital, Dr. Mustafa Bamidele, who received Mrs. Ambode and her entourage, expressed joy at the visit, saying such was quite unusual. He expressed appreciation on behalf of the management and staff of the hospital for the visit and presentation of gifts to the newly born, expressing optimism that the hospital will witness such visits in future. The University of Ilorin has appealed to the federal government to assist the institution to retrieve its mini campus, allegedly seized by the Kwara State government. The appeal was contained in a letter dated June 26, signed by the university's Vice-Chancellor, Abdul Ganiyu Ambali, and addressed to the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Education. A copy of the letter was made available to newsmen in Abuja on Sunday. It said the armed men broke and demolished property in the facility, as well as harassed its occupants. It said the governor apologized for the action and said the premises would be vacated within 1 month with effect from June 25th. The old Kwara State government in 1975 donated the facility as a temporary site to meet part of the conditions to site the institution in Ilorin. There was, however, no agreement that the university would relinquish the property to the state government. Speaking on the issue, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Abdul Wahab Oba, said the building was not being forcibly taken over. He said parts of the building would be used to temporarily accommodate the State Board of Internal Revenue pending the completion of its permanent building on Ahmadu Bello Way, Ilorin. It's Core TV Primetime News. We'll take another break and be back with business, sports and stories outside Nigeria. Just stay with us.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, our 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. 2 people have been injured in multiple car explosions in the northern Gaza City. Palestinian security sources said The sources said 6 explosions took place at the same time on Sunday morning in the Sheikh Radwan neighborhood. The cars belonged to officials of Islamic Jihad, Hamas and its armed wing. The Qassam brigades, there was no immediate claim of responsibility for the attacks, but an Al Jazeera correspondent in Gaza noted that Sheikh Radwan witnessed a fighting between Hamas security forces and fighters loyal to the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant group in early June. 3 Egyptian soldiers were killed in a rocket attack on a checkpoint by Islamist militants in the Sinai Peninsula on Saturday, the military said in a statement. The official MENA news agency had only reported 5 soldiers killed, quoting security officials. The discrepancy could not immediately be explained as journalists have limited access to the Restif Peninsula, where jihadists are waging a deadly insurgency. The military said it killed 20 militants on Saturday in an assault on a jihadist hideout, posting video of air strikes on a building and 2 trucks on its spokesman's Facebook page. Militants loyal to the Islamic State group have killed hundreds of soldiers and policemen in attacks since the military overthrow of President Mohamed Morsi in 2013, which unleashed a deadly crackdown on his Islamic supporters on Thursday. The Islamist claims responsibility for a missile attack on a Navy vessel off North Sinai, but the army said no Navy men were killed in the attack. Britain is committed to working with the U.S. to destroy the caliphate set up by Islamic State militants in Iraq and Syria. The Prime Minister reports David Cameron told us U.S. TV network NBC he wanted the UK to do more, but said he needed to take Parliament with him. MPs voted against proposed military actions in Syria 2 years ago. Mr. Cameron is due to use a speech on Monday to warn young Britons tempted to join ISIS fighters that will end up a little more than cannon fodder. Rival anti-Islam and anti-racism rallies saw 100 protests across Australia at the weekend with violent clashes in Melbourne as police officers mounted a strong presence on cities Sunday to keep the 2 sides apart. About 100 anti-Islam protesters from the Reclaim Australia and United Patriots Front group waved the national flag and yelled chants at a rally in Sydney Sunday with signs declaring "Say no to Syria and immigration" as the elephant in the room. They were met by around 250 counter-demonstrators who carried banners including "No Racism, No Islamophobia." Police, including Royal Court officers and mounted units, parked Martin Place in the heart of Sydney's central business district to separate the rival groups. 5 people were arrested at the Sydney demonstrations, a New South Wales State Police spokesman told AFP, with 2 expected to be charged. There were more brief scuffles, but no sign of the violence seen in sister city Melbourne on Saturday, where police had to use Capsicum spray to subdue protesters. There were also opposing rallies in the capital, Canberra, Western Sydney, Perth, and Tasmania, Hobart, with the anti-racism protests attracting the same number or more participants. And now it's time for business. The scarcity of foreign exchange, especially the dollar, is currently threatening import contracts for premium motor spirit, otherwise called petrol. Marketers of petroleum products are now finding it difficult to get dollars to finance import transactions, even with the Naira equivalent readily available. Reports hazard that WHO recently had their credit lines reopened by the banks after a long wait. They are also having challenges getting adequate dollar conversions. The Executive Secretary, Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association Olufemi Adewole, said the development had been brought to the notice of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and the Apex Bank is expected to take quick action before the situation gets out of hand. The chairman, Nigeria Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, Lagos Zone, Alhaji Tokunbo Korodo, confirmed that operations in the downstream sub-sector were currently beclouded with uncertainties owing to political indifferences. He said the political indifference in this regard remained glaring, as the current government had yet to show a policy direction for the downstream segment since May 29, when it was inaugurated. The federal government has no plans to revoke unutilized oil refinery license given to 17 private operators over 10 years ago. Investigation by our correspondent had revealed. It was also learned that the Department of Petroleum Resources, the government agency responsible for the assurance of such licenses, had not received any letter from the private operators given the license to establish refineries while the project had not commenced. After the LTD stage, our correspondent learned that the operators were supposed to receive another license to operate, which would allow them to commence operations. As of Friday, none of the 17 operators had obtained a LTO from the DPR, the regulator of Nigeria's petroleum industry. Over 10 years ago, the federal government, through the DPR, had licensed some private operators to set up 18 refineries in Nigeria. Out of the 18 so licensed, according to the DPR, only the Niger Delta Petroleum Refinery is functioning, and it produces 1,000 barrels per day. It's now time for sports.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball, Storming, now he takes Toyo with a flying lead.
Go, taking them out in the lead.
And in sports now, Junior Ajayi scored twice, but Dream Team VI's chances of qualifying for the All-African Games appear slim after the Nigerian under-23 team ended their first leg of the final qualifying match 2-1 against Congo in Port Harcourt on Sunday. Dream Team also lost the $190,000 which the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike promised the team if they beat Congo by 3-0. Former FIFA official Jeffrey Webb, one of 7 high-ranking officials of Soccer World governing body who were arrested in Switzerland on corruption charges, has pleaded not guilty in a U.S. federal court on Saturday. Extradited to the United States, the former FIFA vice president and president of the CONCACAF Regional Soccer Federation appeared at a hearing in Brooklyn, New York. A U.S. lawyer for him declined to comment. Webb, who is facing U.S. charges on racketeering, conspiracy, wire fraud and money laundering, he was released on a $10 million bond US$ co-signed by family members. The 4 co-signers present in court, his wife and her parents and grandmother, were advised by the judge of the gravity of their financial undertaking. The bond was secured by 10 properties, 3 cars, a case of jewelry and watches belonging to Webb and his wife, and financial assets including his 401k retirement account. The 50-year-old Seaman Island national is among the soccer officials and 5 marketing executives charged by the U.S. Justice Department for allegedly exploiting the sports for their own gain through bribes of more than $150 million over 24 years. Under the terms of his release, Webb surrendered his 3 passports and his wife surrendered her passport. He will be under house detention and must remain within 20 miles, 32 kilometers of the courthouse. His movement will be monitored electronically and he will be required to seek written permission from the FBI to go anywhere. It's Go TV Prime Time News. Before we go, a recap of our major headlines. We told you that the civil rights group has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to ignore U.S. President Barack Obama on gay rights issue and his visit to the United States of America. You also heard from us that the former Finance Minister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala denies report of the existence of a dossier on dirty deals by the Johnson administration. We also told you that the Accountant General of the Federation, Hamad Idris, has promised prudent and transparent management of the Federation account. That's our news tonight. Thank you so much for staying on with us. To have a wonderful night rest.